All right, it's 5D transformations. So now I wanted to delve into introverted feeling versus extroverted feeling. And so both of these functions are, everybody has both functions. You know, everybody has extroverted feeling, everybody has introverted feeling, just like everybody has the introverted thinking and the extroverted thinking. Um, of course, as many of you might know, and some of you might not, they work on an axle, meaning it's like a duality. It's like two sides that work together. It's like two sides of a spectrum. So, you know, if you have introverted feeling, you're gonna have extroverted thinking. So you have your feeling comes in an introverted way. As a result, your extroverted thinking is gonna be your main thought, thought function that you use consciously. If you have extroverted feeling, that means you have introverted thinking. So, you know, it's very interesting. This plays out in a lot of different ways. But to keep things pretty simple, introverted feeling is your core initial feeling. It's how you felt when something first takes place in the moment. It's very much the feelings that come from within, emotions that you experience within. And in order to really be able to tap into introverted feeling, you have to really be, you know, paying attention to your feelings, to not even just your feelings, but paying attention to your emotional tone, your frequency. Is very much paying attention to your frequency. But as a result, when you're very much tuned into your frequency, you're not paying as much attention to the external frequency or the external feelings, you know. And you might be paying attention to them because introverted feelers are very perceptive, because what they experience within, feeling wise, they can see in other people. So that's how introverted feeling becomes such a powerful function, and it's tied so much to emotional intelligence, is that it's experiencing all these different aspects of feeling and these different frequencies, and it's giving definition to them. It's giving, okay, this feeling, I must feel this way because I don't feel good. I must feel this way because of this that happened. It's always trying to track where its feelings are coming from moment to moment so that it knows what's going on. And because if it doesn't pay attention to that, it can feel lost. It can feel ungrounded. So introverted feeling is grounded by being in tune with its emotional frequency tone, you know. Now, when you have extroverted feeling, most of the work that introverted feelers are doing, you're doing when it comes to your introverted thinking. That's the function that's internal, that's introverted, that you're working with on an introversion level. So as an extroverted feeler, you're not as much worried about how you independently feel. And that is the big shift that we experience between introverted feeling and extroverted feeling. It's about focus. Extroverted feeling is more so focused on the frequency and emotional tone of the external environment, of everything outside of itself, from the people all the way to the dust on the ground and the way that a room looks, the energy of a room. It could pick up on it. It could see where it can be of use to make it better. For some people, it could just see where it needs to fit in to not ruffle feathers. Extroverted feeling is very much focused on the group, is more externally focused in trying to figure out how to, you know, it's hanging on to its own thoughts, but it's wondering, okay, what is the emotional tone of the environment? And it's very adaptive. How do I adapt to the environment? How can I affect the environment? How can I control and move the environment through personality, through, you know, what's the word? Not peer pressure or anything like that, but more so influence. How can it be influential? How can it work with the group? It has a great time being out with people. You know, its feelings, because extroverted feelers lack a high degree of introverted feeling, the way that they tap into that introverted feeling is going to be by being in a group, by going out, by going to concerts. Like when you think of concert goers, a lot of those are going to be your FE types. You're going to have your FI types there as well, but FE types is more so a function that feels pulled by the environment, whereas the introverted feeler is going to be pulled by how it feels. It will be pulled by the outside environment as well, but its final decision is going to be based on how it internally feels. Whereas an extroverted feeler can go with the flow. You know, introverted feeling is a very interesting function. I've actually had experience tapping into both of these functions, and I was blessed to tap into extroverted feeling on a high level, where I was able to see, you know, extroverted feeling is an interesting function. It has the ability to be moved rather easily, in the sense of it can feel inspired, it can feel sorry for somebody. You know, it's a very sympathetic function, whereas introverted feeling is more of an empathetic function, meaning, oh, I empathize with this person because I can imagine being in this situation. Or if I felt if you know, imagine if I felt this way. It's like, I want my personal freedoms. I don't want nobody to tell me what I can't do, because that wouldn't make me feel good. So I don't want to put that out in the world. Extroverted feeling is more so, you know, what do we need for the collective? What do we need for the group? It's very self-sacrificing. It's not as much worrying about how it feels. It's more so worried about, you know, what is good for the group. You know, it also can play the role and character that's needed, because it is an adaptable function feeling wise. It can be adaptable. You know, a lot of your FE types are really good actors and actresses, you know, because they can tap into an ideal. You know, when I think of extroverted feeling, I think of a symbol. It's more so takes on the feeling of an archetype. You know, a lot of people that love cosplay are like, you know, dressing up and taking on a character that's very FE. It's very much taking on the emotional state, or getting emotionally triggered by an external source, or taking on the energy of an external source, is how they get to tap into their internal feeling. Whereas an introverted feeler is going to lose more of its internal, what it would say is integrity or internal feeling, if it doesn't tap in and check in. If it just goes and takes on the aura of something else, it can do it. But it's going to be much more difficult for the introverted feelers. So that will make introverted feelers a little less adaptable when it comes to hanging out with different people in different groups, and learning new languages, and taking on different cultures. And, you know, extroverted feelers are going to be pushed to want to travel, and it's more of a life of you know, it thinks all the time, and then it escapes through feeling, or it will go to its feeling when it's finally hanging out, relaxing, when it's not logically focused. Whereas an introverted feeler is going to be more so a consistent emotional state, but its thoughts may be a bit more scattered and not as linear. So when you look at it, it's amazing, because it all boils down to awareness and attention, and how much attention do we give to each function is going to determine how much awareness we have of that function. It's also going to determine how much we can utilize that function. So extroverted feeling is much more being able to move with the chaos, waking up every day to be a part of something. It wants to be utilized. It wants to have a role within a group. It is very much your ESFJs and ENFJs, especially the types that lead with FE, are going to naturally position themselves as the leader of the tribe. Whether they rightfully should be that or not, they're going to make that what they do, especially if they're like the father or an elder. You know, a lot of these types come off a lot more mature. The extroverted feeling types will come off a lot more mature at a young age. But a lot of that is because they're already embracing the archetype of the mature role. You know, but for them, by the time they're 20, 25, 30, like, they're already tapping into into an identity that they want to master. They want to very much be a certain way, because it's not as focused on how I feel. It's who I have to be to keep the group going, to keep the group strong and functional. So it's very much a family function. I also do, you know, coaching and, you know, life coaching, things like that. So when I work with a lot of FE types, I also notice that they can deal with a lot more, you know, sacrifice when it comes to the group. And a lot of the time they'll be willing to deal with a lot of, you know, they're the types that will argue with family members or argue with friends, go through really bad arguments, but still stay within the friend circle or the family circle, because family and friends is very important. for both types, but extroverted feelers is very important as well because they need that form of security. And a lot of the time, though, because they are so much self-sacrificing, they'll be in toxic relationships or kind of situations because they can handle it. And that's the thing with FE. It could take so much. They have the ability to take a lot of pain if there's a family element related to it. Introverted feelers, they're going to be, the types to deal with a lot of being isolated, being pushed out of the group, or being criticized because they are very authentic. And to end it off, what I would just say is, you have, you have types that are, when you think of lingo, culture, being the person of the times, fitting with the times, being aware of the music that's popular now, the clothes that are the best clothes to wear, the popular fashion trends, it's gonna be on a feeling level, like what's pushing the emotions of the people. That's what extroverted feeling is paying attention to. What is, that's another thing about extroverted feeling. It's very, it doesn't take its feelings so serious. They are more so the types that can get over things a bit quicker. Everything related to feeling, extroverted feelers are going to be more adaptive, more hip, more with the times, more going forward, more archetypal. They're going to be less about themselves and more about representing something bigger than themselves. Introverted feelers, which is the beauty and power of extroverted feeling, it's also going to be a very sympathetic, and it really can get emotional. When I was dealing with the extroverted feeling function, I got a chance to experience that on a different level because I do more introverted feeling. I found myself watching even commercials. I would watch certain commercials and feel an emotional trigger, and I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, what is that about? Like, I'm not used to that. Introverted feeling is very much like, screw, okay, this is what the TV's saying, but it's probably trying to make me, it's trying to manipulate me. Or, extroverted feeling can do that as well, the different types as they learn about things. But with introverted feeling, it's more so, it's about how I feel and the integrity of what I feel, and not allowing the external extroverted feeling to compromise my morals and values or how I feel. For example, it might be the cool thing to do this in the moment or wear this outfit, but an introverted feeler, that natural introverted feeling, I'm not even gonna say feeler, just the introverted feeling aspect of us is like, well, I don't care what they're saying is the hip clothes. I like to wear these kind of clothes because I feel good wearing this, or, so it's just a different form of individuality. Extroverted feeling is gonna be like, I'm gonna be this archetype because that's what I feel like doing, but it's just more externally focused. Or outside, objectively focused. And then introverted feeling is going to be more subjective, and introverted feelings are extremely important because that's how we hang on to the core values and not changing because the group says so, and not agreeing with the group, or not allowing the commercial that might manipulate to sway you. It's that core integrity part of us that says, I know this is what blah, 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 but I feel like this for a reason, and I'm tapping into that. It's a lot more tapped into its values, and that's more of an integral aspect of introverted feeling. So ideally, we want to tap into both. We want to have our values, our core values that we take on, not because somebody told us, but because it's what we know and what we feel from within is right. It's that moral compass. It's those values that didn't need to be taught. That if you hurt somebody, it's wrong because the feeling of being punched or being made fun of isn't nice. So as an introverted feeler, you don't want to do that to others, even though there might be times you make those mistakes. For extroverted feelers, it's, it's not right to make fun of other people because that's not good for the group. More so than I don't feel right about being made fun of, so I don't want to make fun of other people. It's more so, well, it doesn't really matter how I feel. It's just externally, these people have said that they don't like being made fun of, or and we can see that that's not good. So we shouldn't do that because that's not nice. And now let's create a movement to stop it. That's where the extroverted feeling comes in. Introverted feeling is, this is how I feel about it. Extroverted feeling is, okay, is great in the sense of how can we get the group to understand if it's right or not. So it's very much, extroverted feeling is also more of a persuasive function. Introverted feeling is more of a seductive function. It's, you're gonna, when you're around me, you feel this essence, which I'm gonna try to make you change by having you feel certain things that will make you change. But on a core level, like introverted feeling wants you to really tap in and feel the depth of certain things, and that's how it really makes transformational changes. Extroverted feeling, on the other hand, is gonna be more so trying to get the group to adapt and using different tactics to do that. Persuasive, getting the group to see what's going on, having influential communication, playing that archetypal role needed to get the collective to shift. That's the power of extroverted feeling. There's a lot of introverted feelers that look at extroverted feelers and wish they can move a crowd the way they do. Some extroverted feelers, their ability to speak, communicate, because they're not so internally feeling focused, they can show up and give that great presentation, show up and dance and forget that they even exist. They're some of your greatest performers because they can forget that they exist in the act of providing a great emotional experience for the group. And it has that self-sacrificing element, but the two are needed to create the world that we live in today. And the goal is to really be balanced. You never want to be too group oriented, because that's how you become manipulated. That's how you get caught up in bad group dynamics. That's how you get stuck in karmic cycles and things like that in these groups that are very negative. That's how you lose a sense of self and feel as though you lost a sense of integrity. These things happen when you're too lost in the extroverted feeling side. You're too self-sacrificial. Introverted feeling, sometimes you can be too much in your feelings to where it stops you and it blocks you. And that's where you need some extroverted feeling. You don't want to be, just sticking to what you do and not being able to adapt and change, because then you won't grow. Not being able to meet people, not being able to share what you truly feel because you want to hang on to your feelings and not express them. Extroverted feeling is less dependent on trying to hang on to those individual feelings, because introverted thinking is such an honest, logical function. Even if they have extroverted feeling, they're gonna have to tell you what they think honestly. And introverted feeling, on the other hand, it already knows how it feels, so it doesn't care for you to know how it feels. Whereas extroverted feeling wants you to know how it feels to come to a logical solution. Introverted feeling is very much passive. It hangs on to its feelings. It doesn't really want to express it. It will tell you what it thinks. Somebody that's introverted feeling dominant will tell you what they think, but if they feel as though saying what they think might hurt your feelings, they might say it a certain way or filter it a certain way. So that's where introverted feelers can lose authenticity, because they're trying to shape what they're saying to make themselves feel good, when really it's like, don't worry about trying to feel good. Let the truth be known for the sake of the truth. Let's push truth forward. And that's where introverted feelers will have to go through their growth and realize, man, I have to say how I feel. I have to go with the flow. I have to adapt. I have to be an archetype as well. I have to figure out the archetype that I need to be to give my personal truth out to the world. And that's going to be a big step forward for introverted feelers. So these are just some things to compare extroverted feeling, introverted feeling. I'm going to go a bit deeper here as well with a part 2 soon. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to spread the word. I really want to bring a lot. No, I don't even want to. We bring in big information all year, all decade. Let's bring it. So that being said, thank you for listening, and we'll talk soon. Peace.